Attention crypto holders. This is an urgent market briefing. The next few weeks could be pivotal for your portfolio, and that is not an exaggeration. Before we dive in, please do two things. Share this video with anyone you know in crypto, they need this information, and commit to watching until the end. The final section connects all the dots, and you can't afford to miss it. Here's the deal. What I'm about to share could seriously impact your portfolio, your money, and your future in crypto. Right now, we're seeing a rare mix of events that's making the market super volatile. That means there's a ton of opportunity, but also some real risk. Being ready is what's going to set you apart. Today, we're cutting through the noise to focus on 5 massive stories you simply cannot ignore. These aren't daily headlines. These are foundational shifts that will dictate the market's direction for the rest of the year. First, emergency rate cuts are now almost certain after shocking US jobs data. This means cheaper money, which historically acts as rocket fuel for assets like Bitcoin. Second, top analysts like Tom Lee are holding firm on a potential 200K Bitcoin price by Christmas, citing unstoppable ETF demand.
Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies like Ethereum are super sensitive to monetary policy. So I think that September 17th is an important catalyst. Crypto typically does really well in the fourth quarter. So I think Bitcoin can easily get to 200,000 before year end. I know it's a big move. It's almost a double.
Third, corporate whale Michael Saylor just confirmed another huge Bitcoin buy live on CNBC, a massive vote of confidence while others are fearful. On the altcoin front, Ethereum whales are quietly accumulating billions, with on-chain data showing a clear setup for a potential run to 10K, likely in anticipation of the new ETFs. And finally, US lawmakers are pushing the Clarity Act. This bill could either provide a golden path for mass adoption or create devastating regulatory hurdles. Each one of these stories could move the market on its own, but together they paint a picture of a market at a critical turning point. Understanding how they connect is essential. So let's dive in. So the US economy just surprised everyone. Nobody saw this coming. August job numbers, honestly, they were a disaster. Experts thought we'd see over 76,000 new jobs, but the real number, just 22,000. Big difference. And to make things even worse, June's numbers got revised down, actually into the negatives. For the first time since the pandemic, the US lost jobs. That's huge. This kind of weakness, it really puts pressure on the Fed. At this point, emergency rate cuts aren't a matter of if, they're a matter of when. And you know what usually happens when the Fed cuts rates? Risky assets take off, stocks go up, gold goes up, and yeah, Bitcoin usually pumps too. But here's the real question. Is this the start of a big bull run, or is it just a fake out before a bigger drop? Hold that thought, because in a second, we'll check out what insiders like Tom Lee and Michael Saylor just said on CNBC. Quick reminder, if you're finding this helpful so far, hit that subscribe button right now. We cover crypto every single day, breaking down the news the mainstream media doesn't explain. If you want to stay ahead of the next big move, subscribing is the best way to do it. In a market filled with uncertainty, Fundstrat's Tom Lee dropped a bombshell on CNBC this week. While many analysts are cautious, Lee went on live TV and made a call that turned heads. He believes Bitcoin could still surge to an incredible $200,000 before the end of this year. Let that sink in. That's not a minor gain. It's a full 100% increase from current levels. A move of that magnitude would add nearly $1 trillion to Bitcoin's market cap in just a few short months, a tidal wave of capital. Now, if this came from a random influencer, you could dismiss it. But this is Tom Lee. As co-founder of Fundstrat Global Advisors, he's a respected data-driven analyst known for his often contrarian, yet surprisingly accurate, market calls. His reasoning isn't based on hype, but on macroeconomics. Lee explained that when the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates, it injects liquidity into the system. This easy money environment historically pushes investors into high-growth assets like Bitcoin. We saw this exact scenario play out in 2020. The setup today, with the Fed poised to pivot, is eerily similar. The CNBC anchors were skeptical. They didn't let him off the hook, pressing him on the aggressive timeline. So, to be clear, they asked, "You're telling our viewers that Bitcoin could realistically double by Christmas?" Without a moment's hesitation, Lee confirmed his conviction. He doubled down, stating with confidence, "Yes." That's exactly what his firm's data is telling him. So, is this just a bold, headline-grabbing prediction? Is it pure hype? Or is there real, tangible firepower behind this audacious call? Tom Lee provides the why from a macro perspective, but another industry titan is providing the how with his actions. When you see what Michael Saylor just revealed, you'll understand why this isn't just talk, and why even skeptics are turning bullish. Michael Saylor, the titan of corporate Bitcoin adoption, recently sat down with CNBC. He's the man who famously bet his company, MicroStrategy, on the digital asset, making him a key voice the financial world watches. His every word is scrutinized, and this interview was particularly telling. The anchors, as expected, tried to push him for a flashy price prediction. Saylor typically deflects, focusing on long-term strategy. But this time, you could see the tension. A flicker of frustration showed on his face, as if he was holding back a much bigger truth. Instead of a price target, he dropped a bombshell of action. He revealed MicroStrategy had just acquired another $217 million worth of Bitcoin. That's nearly 2,000 BTC in just 1 week.
We just announced $217 million of Bitcoin purchases this morning before I walked onto this set here.
Wait, 217 million this morning?
217 million, just slightly less than 2,000 Bitcoin.
This wasn't a prediction, it was a powerful statement of his unwavering conviction. To put that into perspective, their groundbreaking first purchase in 2020 was $250 million, a seismic bet that shocked Wall Street. Now, a purchase of that magnitude is simply part of their weekly routine. What was once a revolution has become standard operating procedure, and Saylor is no longer a lone wolf. The institutional herd has arrived. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, is now a major proponent. Their spot Bitcoin ETFs are shattering records, vacuuming up billions of dollars from the market at an unprecedented rate. These institutions are now starting to allocate just 1 to 5% of their massive portfolios to Bitcoin. This small shift translates into a tidal wave of trillions of dollars in new demand. This tsunami of capital is crashing against the unbreakable wall of Bitcoin's fixed supply of 21 million coins. It's a classic supply shock scenario playing out on a global scale. You don't need to be a genius to see what happens next. But it's not just Bitcoin. Ethereum whales just bought nearly $1 billion worth of ETH in 48 hours. These accumulation spikes are rare, and when they happen, Ethereum doesn't just move a little, it rips. Tom Lee is calling for ETH to hit 10K by 2025. And remember, most of crypto's biggest moves usually come in Q4. If whales are buying now, they're not doing it for fun. They're positioning for what's coming. Meanwhile, Solana just secured a NASDAQ listing for a major staking firm. XRP continues to get ignored by mainstream media, but behind the scenes, adoption is growing. Altcoins might be lagging now, but historically, when Bitcoin moves, altcoins explode. The question is, are you positioned before that happens? And while all this is happening, Washington is making moves. The House is pushing for Senate approval of the Clarity Act. For years, crypto has operated in a gray zone, but the Clarity Act could finally give digital assets clear rules. That's the final piece of the puzzle. Regulation doesn't kill markets, it grows them. Just look at ETFs. Once they got approval, institutional money flooded in. The Clarity Act could do the same for altcoins. So, let's recap. Rate cuts are coming. Tom Lee says Bitcoin could hit 200K by Christmas. Michael Saylor is buying more Bitcoin than ever. Ethereum whales are loading up for a potential run to 10K. And regulation is finally catching up. This isn't just another cycle. This is a setup for something much bigger. If you found this helpful, go ahead and hit subscribe and share this video with anyone you know who owns crypto. Stick around because tomorrow I'll be back with even more updates on what could be the biggest bull run of our lifetime. See you then.